This situation right here underscores the importance of not blindly trusting authority figures in your communities. Certain behaviors like meeting up with somebody for dinner because, your wife has just been found dead and smiling. Meeting your future wife at 14 years old should raise some eyebrows. I don't think poor Mica knew she was around a narcissist. When I saw him stand up there at that pulpit and talk about praying for a hot wife or reading through his wife's text messages or personal information, tells me he was already spying on his wife. Women that are planning to leave their husband, making plans with their girlfriend at 9:19 p.m. the night before, allegedly. And the girlfriend claims she was talking about her hair and regular things. Also, the fact that many people have come out and said she has never been suicidal. And she even alluded to the fact that if something happened to her, it would be at the hands of none other than John Paul Miller. Listen, divorce is a tricky business, and sometimes some people can't handle it very well. But that does not give you reason to off or do anything to your soon-to-be ex. And I'm not saying that he did it, and I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of information that will come forward to let us know what the situation really is with this couple, if they really did have a bad relationship and something happened, or if she did indeed do it. But the fact remains is the reason people are intrigued by stories like this. Personally, I feel it's because people see couples like this, right? They're smiling, they're kissy facing, they look happy. And it's this illusion that we get. It's just like when people did the story about Shanann and Chris Watts. These type of true crime stories always start with the same beginning. They met, they fell in love, they were a happy couple, they had everything anybody could ever want. But then tragedy strikes. And I think it's this obsession to know that things like this happen and we don't really quite pinpoint or understand why. We can't psychologically understand why things like this happen. It's the same reason for unaliving in itself. The questions loom. Why? When you have everything you could possibly want. She was leaving him. She's getting out. She's starting anew according to her friends and family. What could make a person want to commit this horrific thing of unaliving themselves? It's the reason why the story just gets more twisty and turny, and why I believe it's going to be a series and not a movie, is then you have this part. Woman he decides to go sit down and eat with just so happens to have a husband that was a paraplegic that falls into a pool and drowns. And we're not going to find out anything more about his congregation. Solid Rock account has been suspended. If you try to go to his website, there's nothing there. I was interested to see what his mission statement was and things of that nature. But we all know that over the weekend, he hosted a memorial service for Mica Miller's passing. And all of the red flags are there. So when I see stories coming out, there's a guy named Robbie Harvey on Twitter today, and he said, according to affidavits submitted on May 2nd, Sierra and Nathan Francis, which are the siblings of Mica Miller, put forward a lot of statements talking about, Mica was forwarding text messages to them. They also said that Mica confided that Mr. Miller was moving her assets that were in his name, such as his vehicle, changing the deed to their house, to the church. They even claimed that he allegedly moved all of her sister's personal belongings from the home while Mica was serving time in a mental facility, and that Mica wasn't even aware that her stuff had been taken away from the house and placed in some sort of apartment. They redacted the name of the apartment, but he was doing all of this while his wife was in a mental health facility. That's not the kind of behavior you do if your wife is suffering with mental health. And I did hear over the weekend that the girl, Mrs. Skinner, that he went out with, claimed that she always had mental health issues. She went on record saying Mica has always suffered with mental health issues, and this was well known within their congregation. She had even told them that she served him with divorce papers on April 25th. I mean, this is just weeks ago, right? So all of this is fresh and happening, and then she just suddenly decides, I'm just done with it. I'm just gonna off myself. I mean, no.